Good morning and welcome to your ELA Midterm Assessment. Please write your first and last name. Directions. You are going to read a passage. After we read the passage, you will answer a number of questions. The first passage is called Time Warrior. Mom, I'm going outside, Alex shouted up the stairs. Even though he put it like a statement, he was really asking her for permission. His mother replied, Okay, Alex, but you have to bring Mikey. Alex didn't want to bring his little mother Mikey, who sucked on his fingers and got Alex's toys covered with drool. But he did want to go outside. He sighed and then pleaded, But Mom, I'm going into the woods with AJ. His mother replied in a practiced manner, AJ or not, you will bring Mikey with you or you will not go. Alex huffed and then got out Mikey's coat. As the brothers walked down the empty street on the cool autumn day, the young brother extended his hand to the older and said, Hold my hand, Alex. Alex sneered at Mikey and said, Your hand is covered with spit, and holding hands is for babies. Mikey wiped his hand on his pants and shot back, Is not. Mom and Dad hold hands, and they aren't babies. Alex considered his brother's words for a moment and then decided to step up the bait. Look, don't do this baby stuff when we get to Alex's. Just keep your mouth shut and mind your business, and I won't clobber you. When they got to AJ's house, the three boys dispensed with the introductions and ran immediately to the woods. AJ carried a thin stick as though it was a sword, and he swiped off the top of weeds as they ran through the trails. Alex held a stick as though it was a machine gun, and he shot imaginary round after round deep into the woods with great bravado. Mikey held his hand in his mouth as though he was a pacifier, and he struggled to keep up with the other boys. Taking his hand from his mouth, Mikey shouted, Wait up, Alex! But Alex did not wait. Alex and AJ were fighting a battle to save the universe, which required them to pass over creeks and logs, jump deep trenches, and climb over thick bush. Alex was having so much fun playing Time Warriors with AJ that he had forgotten about Mikey. The two boys played until AJ defeated Alex in a dramatic duel on a log. After suffering this crushing defeat, Alex called for his brother, whom he thought that he could beat in a duel. But there was no response to his call. Alex scanned around the forest for Mikey. Mikey? He shouted again. Alex's heart dropped as he realized that Mikey was gone. Panic swept over Alex's face. He shared the problem with AJ, who confirmed his worst fears by saying, Uh-oh, my dad says that there are wolves in these woods. And the two boys began a frantic search through the forest, backtracking and shouting for Mikey while imaging a roving pack of gray wolves waiting around every turn. Alex thought back to all the good times that he had shared with his brother, and he realized that he loved him and wanted nothing more for Mikey to come back. The boys looked by the thick bush, deep trenches, creeks, and logs, but there was no sign of Mikey. So Alex and AJ decided that it was time to tell an adult. As the boys approached the back door of AJ's house, they heard a scuttle coming from behind the shed. Much to their surprise, Mikey came rolling out and poked Alex in the belly with a stick. In the joy of the moment, Alex did not mind that he had lost another duel, or that he had been poked by a spit-covered stick. He was just happy to see his brother again. Alex laughed, and as he picked Mikey up, gave him a great big hug. Alex would go back to beating on his little brother Mikey and calling him Slobber Paw the next day. But for the rest of this day, Alex treated Mikey like a king. Which of the following is best described as part of the exposition of the story? Alex tells Mom that he's going outside. Alex realizes that he lost Mikey. Alex loses a duel to AJ. Alex goes back to being mean to Mikey. Number 2. Which of the following is best described as the inciting incident of the story? Mikey loses Alex in the woods. Alex loses a duel to AJ. Mom makes Alex take Mikey with him, or all three boys run into the woods. 3. Which of the following is best described as part of the rising action of this story? Mikey struggles to keep up with Alex. Alex and AJ look for Mikey. Mikey pokes Alex with the stick. Alex goes back to being mean to Mikey. Next one. Which of the following is best described as part of the climax of the story? Mikey pokes Alex with the stick. Alex realizes that he lost Mikey. Alex goes back to being mean to Mikey, or Mom makes Alex take Mikey with him. Which of the following is best described as part of the falling action of the story? Mom makes Alex take Mikey with him. Alex and AJ look for Mikey. Mikey struggles to keep up with Alex, or Alex loses a duel to AJ. Which of the following is best described as part of the resolution of the story? Alex loses a duel to AJ. Alex and AJ look for Mikey. Mom makes Alex take Mikey with him, or Alex goes back to being mean to Mikey. We now have another quick story called MJ. In his sophomore year of high school, Michael Jordan tried out for the varsity basketball team at Laney High School in Wilmington, North Carolina. But at 5 feet 11 inches tall, the coach believed that Jordan was too short to play at that level, so Jordan was cut from the team. Jordan did not let this obstacle defeat him. In fact, it pushed him to work even harder. He trained vigorously and grew another 4 inches the following summer. When he finally made the varsity squad, Jordan averaged 25 points a game and went on to become one of the greatest basketball players in history. What is the theme of this story? What does the author want you to learn? Reading books is not a substitute for real life. Never give up. Be thankful for the things that you receive, or if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Which sentence best supports the theme? Jordan did not let this obstacle defeat him. In his sophomore year of high school, Michael Jordan tried out for the varsity basketball team at Laney High School in Wilmington, North Carolina. But at 5 feet 11 inches tall, the coach believed that Jordan was too short to play at that level, so Jordan was cut from the team. None of the above. We now have another short paragraph. Ulysses. Ulysses spent all of his free time reading books and felt that he was very intelligent. One day, a nice student from his class asked him if he wanted to go sledding, and Ulysses responded, "I've read about sledding in books. It sounds miserable. No, thank you." On another day, a different friendly student asked Ulysses if he wanted to go out for hot dogs after school. Ulysses responded, "I've read that hot dogs are filled with rat parts and pig bellies. No, thank you." Nobody asked Ulysses to hang out again, but he did read about friends in his books. What is the theme of this story? Reading books is not a substitute for real life. Never give up. Be thankful for the things you receive. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. What sentence best supports this theme? Ulysses spent all of his free time reading books and felt that he was very intelligent. One day, a nice student from his class asked him if he wanted to go sledding, and Ulysses responded, "I've read about sledding in books, and it sounds miserable." Nobody asked Ulysses to hang out again, but he did read about friends in his books, or none of the above. All right, we have another paragraph. Blaine opened up the present and began pouting. He screamed in a high-pitched voice, "This is Captain Thunder! I wanted Captain Lightning!" His mother looked at him with dismay and handed him another present, which he greedily opened. "Why did you get me a red hat? You know I like blue more!" Blaine whined as he threw the hat across the room. His mother straightened her expression and squinted at him. Earlier, she had hoped to take some pictures of this moment, but by now she had put away her camera. She sighed and handed him one more present in hopes that this year wouldn't be a total bust. Blaine huffed and opened it. "A Game Box 4000? Wow! Where's the Game Box 5000 that I asked for?" His mother could bear his ingratitude no longer. The next time that Blaine returned from his father's house, he was shocked to find that all of the toys and gifts, along with many other things, had been generally donated to needy children. What is the theme of the story? Reading books is not a substitute for real life. Never give up. Be thankful for the things you receive. If something sounds too good, it probably is. What sentence best supports this theme? His mother straightened her expression and squinted at him. The next time that Blaine returned from his father's house, he was shocked to find that all of these toys and gifts, along with many other things, had been generously donated to needy children. His mother looked at him with dismay and handed him another present, which he greedily opened, or none of the above. You're now going to read another short story called Alex. It was after midnight, and Alex was just starting to study for his chemistry test. He had put it off until the last minute, of course, and now he was paying the price. With debate club, soccer, his part-time job at the restaurant, and homework from all of his other classes, it was hard to keep up with everything. Maybe he should quit his job or quit the debate team. He wasn't enjoying debate as much as he used to. However, Alex knew that his dad was proud of him and his achievements in debate, and he didn't want to disappoint him. But what about homework? He'd love to have less homework, but he couldn't exactly tell his teachers that. He thought a minute about quitting soccer, but then he stopped. He couldn't imagine life without soccer. Alex sighed. All he knew was that if he failed his chemistry test, his parents would make a decision for him, a decision he wouldn't like. So he was willing to stay up all night, if necessary. Based on what you read in the passage, you can infer that Alex is afraid his parents will make him quit the job, quit the debate team, do less homework, or quit the soccer team. What sentence supports your inference? It was after midnight, and Alex was just starting to study for his chemistry test. With debate club, soccer, his part-time job at the restaurant, and homework from all his other classes, it was hard to keep up with everything. He wasn't enjoying debate as much as he used to. He couldn't imagine life without soccer. Okay, we now have another short story. It's called The Personal Computer. In the 1970s, several of the first personal computers hit the market. Among them were the IBM 5100 and the Commodore PET. However, these computers required a great deal of technical knowledge, so they weren't meant for the average person. In 1976, Apple co-founder Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak introduced the Apple I. The machine was a simple board with exposed circuits and wires, certainly nothing like the sleek Apple products of today, and they only sold 200 of them before introducing the Apple II in 1977. The Apple II came fully assembled and was much more user-friendly than the previous model. In 1981, IBM released its first personal computer meant to be for the average consumer. And for the first time, personal computers were widely available in stores such as Sears and Computerland. Over the next decade, personal computers would become common in households, schools, and offices around the country. Eventually, they evolved into laptops, tablets, and smartphones that we use every single day. What is the main idea of this passage? Personal computers have continued to evolve since they were first introduced in the 1970s. Several of the personal computers first hit the market in the 1970s, including the IBM 500, 5100, the Commodore PET. Eventually, computers evolved into the laptops, tablets, smartphones we use every day. Which supporting detail best supports the main idea? In the 1970s, several of the first personal computers hit the market. In 1976, Apple co-founders Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak introduced the Apple. Over the next decade, personal computers became common in households, schools, and offices around the country. They only sold about 200 of them before introducing the Apple II in 1977. The final question of your midterm exam: what 4 items should always be included in a personal narrative? Dialogue, sensory details, a claim, a problem, a theme, and facts to support your claim. Please choose 4. You need to choose 4. You can always go back at any time to reread any of the questions. Good luck.